Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Michael and today I'm taking a look at the PlayStation TV, also known as PlayStation Vita TV in different regions, and I'm trying to find out if it's still worth having it even in 2021. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. I would like to start with some background info like usually. It was released in November 2013 in Japan and 1 year later elsewhere in the world. It is a micro console and basically it's PlayStation Vita hardware without screen, battery and all the buttons, with the HDMI output that is missing on the PS Vita. Sony was thinking about including HDMI output in the Vita itself, but ultimately they have decided to ditch the idea in favor of separate micro console, aka Pstv. Supposedly Sony was planning to penetrate the Chinese gaming market with PlayStation TV, where the video games consoles have previously been prohibited. Honestly, I'm not sure why they at least didn't try to include the output on the PS Vita itself. I was reading that on the PS Vita 1000 model the upscaler is already built in on the motherboard, so the only thing missing is the HDMI output. And that could have easily been the mystery port that isn't absolutely utilized on the 1000 model. Besides, I believe they wasn't selling PS Vita in China anyway, so why not to grant the users all over the world the benefit of hybrid console? Especially when they included the TV output on the PSP Go as well as on the PSP 2000 and 3000 models, before the Vita itself. Well, I guess that's just the way Sony's doing their business, to piss off their loyal customers. The size of the system is really tiny, as you can see. I'm comparing it with my Galaxy S8. The weight is around 100 grams, so you're having a hard time to keep it on the spot, as the cables tend to drag it all over the place. There isn't much on the system itself. On the front side there is a Sony logo and LED indicator. From the side there is a slot for PS Vita physical games, and from the back side there is a power button, plus there are all the ports. Slot for proprietary PS Vita memory cards, standard USB-A slot, HDMI output, wired Ethernet and 5V power supply with same connector as on the PSP. You can control the system either with the PS3 or PS4 controller. The PlayStation TV was on the right track to compete with other set-top boxes like Apple TV and Chromecast, as it was basically the same thing just with more appealing features, including playing your PS Vita, PSP and PS1 games all in one place. I'm always amazed how Sony can mess up even such a sure shot like having all these benefits but not caring enough to at least attempt to make it happen. Instead, they choose to create a PS TV as a separate unit, then blacklist half of the Vita library, and then they hope for the best. What the hell? Classic Sony approach. I've seen it a couple of times already. As I've mentioned, PlayStation TV was compatible just with the fraction of the whole Vita library, which caused a lot of negative feedback from the customers. Many PS Vita games utilize the awesome Vita features like camera, microphone, gyroscope, or touchscreen and rear touchpad that nobody really cared about. There are no such features on the PS TV, hence Sony decided to simply blacklist those games, even though many of them like Wipeout 2048 did use touch input in menus only. Instead of Sony caring and simply patching the games so it can function as intended, they have simply ignored the issues. What's more, there is even built-in feature in the system menu itself that allows you to emulate touch input with your DualShock 3 or 4. I went a bit off topic here, but what I wanted to point out is that laziness like that cost Sony millions of dollars, and exactly because of that PlayStation TV failed. At least in the past, as I'm not seeing PS TV as a failure anymore, mainly because of the great homebrew community that saw its potential and embraced it wholeheartedly and resolve all the issues. For example, the blacklisted games can all be whitelisted in a matter of seconds, and every one of us can decide if it's worth the hassle that comes with playing the games on PlayStation TV. All you need to do is exploit the system, which can be easily done on all firmware versions, same way like on the PlayStation Vita, and job done, no more issues and sleepless nights. In my opinion, that's the only way how the Pstv can be still relevant in 2021. Without the exploit, it isn't really viable to purchase it, just to use it the old school intended way. The price is still rising, so it's still harder to find it for relatively cheap. I wouldn't really invest into it more than £70 if you are not sure if you're gonna like it or not. And if you know what to expect and you desperately wanting it, then go ahead and spend as much as you can afford. I've seen prices £150+ for the complete with box units, and I guess it will be worth only more in the future. What's the benefits of exploiting the Pstv, you may ask? First and foremost, it's the whitelister, as I've mentioned before. Although there are games with some segments in it that you cannot play without PS Vita features, like Uncharted Golden Abyss, there is a simple workaround it. That being, just play the part you cannot progress on the Vita itself, then save the game, and then just transfer the save file via the save manager into your PlayStation TV. You just gotta be logged into the same PlayStation Network account on both systems to make it happen. Obviously, for some games it's not really convenient to do it that way, as there are many of those segments, so rather avoid those. Next big feature is the option to use USB drive as your main storage. There are some steps that you need to repeat every time you turn on the system, like mount the USB drive as a UMO and then mount it as a UXO. For me, it's acceptable compromise. You can also use SD to Vita and plug it into your game cartridge, but you're gonna lose the ability to play physical PS Vita cartridges. You know, you gain some, you lose some. Like always, the world is not that straightforward place to be. Next benefit would be all the plugins, apps, emulators that your heart craves for. You just gotta know what you want, and there is a high chance somebody else before you wanted the same thing and already figured it out. So just use your best friend Google and check out some subreddits or discords to satisfy your curiosity. I would absolutely recommend using Vita homebrew browser, as the majority of all things available are already in there. For the plugins, you can use autoplugin app, as there are all of them neatly organized in one package for you to browse through and install the most intriguing ones. The biggest feature is, of course, the ability to play your PS Vita, PSP and PS1 games on the big screen, either in 720p or 1080i. That's also the biggest benefit over the PS Vita itself. That is also the only way how you can capture those games properly. As you can see, I'm capturing all of my footage the old school way, that means recording it with my smartphone. There is the built-in HDCP protection to the Pstv that is preventing you from simply plugging it into the capture card. Hence you need the HDMI splitter, although you cannot use any, but you need specific older type one. I already own like 3 of them and none is working. If anybody has got any suggestions for Pstv compatible HDMI splitter, please let me know down in the comment section below. So in the end, is the Pstv worth owning in 2021? Well, in my humble opinion, it definitely is worth having or buying even now. It's still a very useful tool to have to your disposal to capture the footage or just simply play some retro games. The condition being to mod your system, obviously, so you are not limited by Sony's messed up approach. As I've said, I wouldn't really invest some huge amount into it unless you are a collector or enthusiast, but if you are, I guess you already own it, so you know better what you want. And what about you guys? Do you own PlayStation TV or PS Vita or both? Which one suits you better? And do you think it is still worth buying it in 2021? Let me know down below. And if you are still here, I do really appreciate it, and I would like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel, as there is more quality content coming at ya. So, thanks guys, and see you in the next one. Peace.